We are live. Greetings, people. Greetings, my fellow Americans. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. We are live, my fellow Americans. Lot to talk about. Gonna let everybody trickle in here. Hello, hello. The second live, technically the third live, but we're calling this the second live. Welcome to the Progressive Pulse. I'm Josh Greene. I'm coming at you live from the West Coast of these United States. It is almost 6 p.m. local time. We said we'd start around 6 p.m. I started a little bit early. We've got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened in the past 24 hours, from a bomb threat that was called against Democratic lawmakers, forcing them to evacuate their hotel. Donald Trump blasting reporters for asking about the Epstein files. He says, "It's a hoax. It's bullshit. Stop asking me about it." Does that sound like a guilty man to you? We have Republican lawmakers that are getting absolutely eviscerated by their constituents, like what happened with Mr. Mike Flood in Nebraska. We'll definitely take a look at that. Nancy Mace had a more favorable town hall for her support tonight, but some things she said were absolutely radical as well. She's one of the most extremist members of our government. And yeah, so today we got a lot to talk about. If you're coming in for the first time, let me know. Welcome. And yeah, let me know where you're watching from, by the way. I would love to know where everybody's tuning in from. Let me make sure it's live. Has hit everybody on social media, letting everybody know that it's live. Make sure you like the video, share the video, help amplify its message. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. So why don't we just jump right in? Donald Trump today made some announcements. He had a little fascist ceremony at the White House just a couple hours ago. This is something that happened later in the afternoon, so it hasn't hit a lot of media outlets yet, but he had Tim Cook show up at the White House. He got a little testy with reporters, so I want to make sure we take a look at some of that. If at any point, people have trouble hearing anything, seeing anything, let me know. I'm a one-man show right now. We're doing this from the bottom up. This is a grassroots stream, a grassroots campaign. So appreciate you guys. I got the chat here on the side as well, so I can see what everybody is saying. So here we go. Let's take a look at Donald Trump making an announcement today at the White House. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Supreme Ruler Trump. I would never threaten you on social media. Nobody saw that today. Here we go.
Great legends of our time, my book. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. As you know, 5 people were seriously wounded and 2 very, very seriously hurt around.
Just another day in America. Another shooting.
The shooter is now in custody.
It's unfortunate.
And the Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The entire nation is praying for the victims and their families, and hopefully they'll fully recover, and we can put this chapter behind, but we're not going to forget what happened. We're going to take very good care of this.
Look at Howard Lutnick. This guy is such a fucking sleazebag. This is the guy, every time Trump talks about tariffs, he's like making up random figures like, we're going to make this much money or we're going to make that much money. What a propaganda minister that guy is.
This person that did this, horrible person. This afternoon, we're pleased to welcome to the White House one of the great and most esteemed business leaders and geniuses and innovators anywhere in the world, Apple CEO Tim Cook. Amazing job.
Will never be Steve Jobs.
Thanks as well to Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and Secretary of Commerce Howard.
He's riding Steve Jobs'
Lutnick
coattails.
for being here, wherever you may be. Oh, there you are. Hello, fellas. I missed you. Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made.
They would be investing no matter what. I don't think Trump has anything to do with this. He's going to take credit for that, but Apple is a massive company. They're growing. They've been successful for decades. You can say, oh, Trump pressured them to invest more in the US by threatening them with tariffs. I highly doubt that. I wouldn't give Trump that much credit.
In America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country, all roaring to life. Areas that were not doing so well are doing very well. We have about $17 trillion coming into the United States, which is more than ever before. That's never even come close. There's never been anything like it. Even you, that's even a lot of money for you. But we have commitments of more than $17 trillion. That was as of a couple of weeks ago. These investments will directly create more than 20,000 brand new American jobs and many thousands more at the Apple suppliers like Corning, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, and Samsung, who all deal in that world. As part of this historic commitment, Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in
Yada, yada, yada. Let's get to the
Harrodsburg,
president taking questions.
Kentucky, which is a great, actually.
Actually, I
did
want to show
very
you
well
guys.
there. I like it because I see I did very
Tim
well
Cook
there.
gives him a little gift.
I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy. I thought maybe while we're up, I'll
Where's Tim
interrupt
giving
my
him a
own
gift?
speech by you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I step up?
Yes,
Okay, here he
please.
goes. Watch this.
This box was made in the U.S., in California.
Made in the U.S. Wow.
This glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one.
If you can't hear him because he's such a little mumbler, he says, this glass is one of one. It was made personally for President Donald Trump. He is our supreme ruler. We made this for him because we love President Trump. And if we don't do this for President Trump, he might not be nice to us anymore. So we're going to give this to President Trump.
It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold. And it sits, I'll take the liberty of setting it up.
We will get an Apple product placement in the White House.
Well,
This is disgusting.
there we go.
By the way, I'm on an Apple computer. I have an Apple phone, okay? Apple is inevitable. It's in our lives. Okay? So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, throw away your Apple. Get rid of Apple this, get rid of Apple that. Boycott Apple." Boycott Tesla, for sure. Boycott Tesla. Elon Musk donated $250 million to help install a criminal thug back into our White House. The same guy who essentially tried to destroy our country now has an army of brown shirts that go around this country terrorizing communities. There's even people that suggest that ICE agents are former J6 prisoners that are working as bounty hunters, essentially. So boycott Tesla. Apple, they've supported Trump. They've enabled Trump. Nothing to the extent that Elon Musk has done. Which, by the way, I believe Donald Trump is going to speak about Elon in this interview as well. He says he's not mad at Elon anymore, but Elon did some bad things.
Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
The great people of
Thank you to everybody
Kentucky.
who's tuning in. We're just getting
You're gonna find
started
it a
tonight.
great
Share
place
this
to do
live with a
business,
friend.
too. It's fantastic. Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries. This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America. With the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today, Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon.
Oregon. Why does he say it like that? All right, let's get to some reporter questions.
were saying we don't take coal, we have more coal than anybody else. So yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good...
Great question. Whatever happened to a peace deal with Russia? Whatever happened to that? Remember Donald Trump said on day one he was going to have a peace deal signed between Ukraine and Russia. He actually said before day one. He said before day one. He said on election day, essentially, that he would get that done. Now, obviously, that's hyperbole. Obviously, he was being satirical. He was being dramatic, right? But the point was, Donald Trump is the master negotiator. He was going to get a peace deal done because the peace through strength president, the no new wars president, was going to solve that because art of the deal, baby. Donald Trump knows the way. Well, guess what? Donald Trump exploited Ukraine for their minerals. He berated Zelensky in the White House. And by the way, I'm no like diehard Slava Ukraine person, right? I am just of the common sense belief that Ukraine is a sovereign country. Russia invaded Ukraine illegally and is blowing up innocent civilians every single day. And we have a moral obligation to stand up for the innocent people of Ukraine. And what Donald Trump has done, he essentially tried to get the quickest and cheapest peace deal done with Ukraine and Russia. He was trying to sell out Ukraine so that he could get a peace deal done so that he could tell his followers, oh, look at me, I got the peace deal done. Well, guess what? He gave Putin all the leverage because he basically showed the whole world, I'm going to berate Zelensky in the White House. I'm going to tell Zelensky that we're not going to do anything Ukraine wants and we're going to let Russia have whatever they want. And Putin sees that and Putin goes, well, I'm just going to keep blowing up cities then. I'm just going to keep bombing cities and taking over cities because I want all of Ukraine. That's been clear from the get-go. So great job, Mr. President. You're the best president ever. Great job, sir. We love you.
Prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long. But there's...
What is this sundowning motherfucker saying? Look at this guy. He's fucking falling apart. He's barely alive. And he's saying that they had a good talk and that the war is going to end soon. $1,000 says they didn't even talk today. $1,000 says they didn't even talk this month so far. And $1,000 says this war doesn't end for a few more years, thanks to Trump, who is prolonging it.
There's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
How close do you think you are to a deal?
Excuse me?
How close do you think you are to some kind of deal?
Well, I don't want to say. I've been disappointed before.
Well, I don't want to say. We have no idea because a peace deal is not coming. I have no plan. I'm just going to project confidence and say, oh, well, the peace deal will come, but I don't want to be disappointed because it's all my fault, but I'm going to blame everybody else. What a fucking loser.
With this one, we've solved 5 wars, plus add to that Iran, where we wiped out their nuclear capacity for weapons. They would have had a weapon within 2 months, maybe less.
I heard they would have had a weapon for 2 months since 1991. We've been hearing that Iran is 2 weeks away from a nuke since JFK was president. I mean, not literally, but since Eisenhower was president.
And that was totally obliterated. Turned out it was a total obliteration. And the pilots and the people that did that job are really, we have the greatest armed forces in the world, but that was really something. In fact, there's a model of the plane right there. So, you got to bring that up, Susie. We have to see that. Look at this. This was just given to me. We ordered brand new B-2 bombers. This is a plane that over a period of 36 hours of constant flying. Look at this. So this is the brand new one they just ordered. Similar, but actually quite different. It's new and enhanced. It's an amazing machine. It went 36 hours.
No new wars, but look at my new warplane that I'm going to use to bomb innocent brown people in the Middle East.
We had 52 tankers up in the air loading up our planes because this was surrounded by F-22s and F-35s, and it was flawless, Tim. Even you would say it was flawless. And every one of those bombs hit their target. And then we had Tomahawks shot in from a submarine 300 miles away, and they hit every single Tomahawk hit its target. It was amazing. And that was a big threat. That was a nuclear threat. And here's the new one that we just ordered, a large number of them. I'll put it up.
Mr. President, what was the breakthrough today? Did Vladimir Putin make some kind of concession that he hasn't been willing to make before?
I don't call it a breakthrough. I mean, we've been working on this a long time. There are thousands of...
Mr. Dealmaker, sir, I thought you were going to give us a breakthrough. You don't want to celebrate your breakthroughs?
Young people dying, mostly soldiers, but also, missiles being hit into Kiev and other places.
Kiev.
But in terms of soldiers, I think Russia's lost over 20,000 since the beginning of the year. 20,000. And I guess the estimate for Ukraine is about 9,000. It's a terrible situation. We want to get it stopped. We don't have American soldiers there, but I feel I have an obligation to get it stopped. This was not my war. This war would have never started. Not
He's about to say this is Biden's war. This is the Democrats' war.
even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years. It went 4 years and didn't start. But this is Biden's war. This was on his watch. And, it's funny. We had...
I get $1,000 for that one.
No land was taken from Trump. It was taken from Bush. It was taken from Biden. The whole thing they would take from Biden if it weren't for us. But it was taken by Obama. Take a look at what was taken with all of the land that was taken. Nothing.
This guy knows 3 words. He knows Obama, he knows Biden, and he knows Sleepy Joe. That's one word, Sleepy Joe. This guy knows 3 words. Obama, Biden, Sleepy Joe. Look at this senile old fuck. This sick fuck. This predator. This rapist. That's what he is. I can't believe that a major news network settled and paid him millions of dollars for correctly stating on air that he was found civilly liable for sexual abuse, and the judge stated that it was most likely true that he raped E. Jean Carroll.
Was taken by
Thank
Russia
you, Billy
from
John.
us. Not
Appreciate the support.
1 ounce of land was taken. I'm here to get the thing over with. It would have never started if I were president, and we're here to get it stopped and get the death stopped. Yeah, please.
President, in the past, you said you would know if Putin was tackling you along. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less.
He'll tell you in 2 weeks, folks. So what's today, August 6th? Check the calendar in 2 weeks. Donald Trump will have an answer for you in 2 weeks. Okay? Remember he said he was going to tell us about what's happening with the hostages? Well, that's coming in 2 weeks. Remember he said he was going to have a ceasefire with Israel? 2 weeks. Remember he said that TikTok deal was coming? 2 weeks.
But we've made a lot of progress. And as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India on oil. They're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. But so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But we've had very productive talks today. Yes, ma'am?
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations. And
by the way, now they're going to use the assault on big balls as another reason to federalize D.C. Remember, Elon Musk's Doge crony, this little twerp who goes by Big Balls, I guess he got his ass kicked in D.C. Somebody beat him up. It was probably his fault. He was probably out there looking for a fight because he's Big Balls, right? He's so tough. And I guess somebody must have punched him in the face or jumped him. I don't know. He is not worth the media's attention. But Donald Trump is looking for any excuse right now to federalize D.C. Let's hear this thug talk about it.
you're not going to want to see what it looks like. It was just up on television, actually. They were showing it. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. You know, we just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him
Big balls.
the night before last. And I'm going to call him now. We wanted to give him a little recovery time.
You're going to call him Big Balls because he was Doge's little big ball man, and he was in charge of cutting barely any money out of our government, but cutting programs that actually mattered to people around the world. And by the way, I don't know if you people have seen this, but Doge has left a massive mess in the federal government. Apparently, the buildings that Doge worked in, trash everywhere. They left it completely destroyed. It's like they ran out of there in a hurry to escape some type of hurricane. They left all their belongings behind. So not only did they not even cut waste out of the government, but they destroyed the property. They left waste everywhere. They couldn't even pick up their own trash. I'll show you pictures of that some other time.
We just put a call into him. They're calling back in a little while, but he went through a bad situation, to put it mildly, and there's too much of it. We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it.
You're president, bro. The last administration, crime was falling. Now crime is rising again. And by the way, political violent crime is rising. We're going to talk about what happened with the Democrats today, evacuating their hotel because of a bomb threat, because of your rhetoric, because of rhetoric from your fascist enablers, brother.
And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
Do you want Congress to look at overturning the DC Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best run place in the country, not the worst run place in the country. And it has so much potential, and we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
Mr. President, if you do reach a deal with Ukraine and Russia, would you drop the additional tariffs on India?
Well, we'll determine that later, but right now they're paying a 50% tariff. Okay? Yeah, please.
One for Mr. Cook as well. On the
Yeah,
email,
please.
if I may.
Sure.
The president wants a made in the USA iPhone. What are the chances that you can actually make that happen?
Well, if you look at the bulk of it, we're doing a lot of the semiconductors here. We're doing the glass here. We're doing the Face ID module here. And so there's a ton of it. And we're doing these for products sold elsewhere in the world. And so there's a lot of content in there from the United States.
But what about the whole thing?
We're very proud of it.
Can you make the whole thing
is
here?
just the final assembly that you're focused on. And that will be elsewhere for a while.
So what you're telling me is, no, you're not going to make the phones in the US. You're a big fucking phony. You like exploiting cheap Chinese children for labor. And nothing's changing, except everything's getting more expensive. It all started with this fucker. You're just a loser, copying him. You will never be Steve Jobs, but nice tie.
He makes many of the components here, and we've been talking about it, and the whole thing is set up at other places, and it's been there for a long time. So in terms of the cost and all, but I think we may incentivize him enough that one day he'll be bringing that. But he brings most of the stuff. Look, he's not making this kind of an investment anywhere in the world, not even close. He's coming back. I mean, Apple's coming back to America. Thank you.
Mr. President, Indian officials,
He literally is just standing there taking it like, no, we're probably not moving things to the US. We're doing it way cheaper overseas, and there's no reason for us to move it to the US. And he's like, we're going to make them move it. And He's like, nah.
Let me go, please.
Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional
It's
sanctions?
only been 8 hours, so let's see what happens over the next.
More secondary sanctions
you're going
very
to see a lot
soon.
more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
to
see a
come.
lot more. You're
Mr.
going to see so much
You were the
secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, you were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going on
Research on what?
into mRNA vaccines?
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, that is a pass. With Operation.
So many people are going to lose their lives, man. I think this country really has amnesia. Remember, this terrorist right here, he was responsible for over 500,000 American deaths during the pandemic. I say this with factuality. Donald Trump spread so much misleading information, so much misinformation. That's literally where that term came from, because during the pandemic, he said multiple times, oh, well, we're not going to get cases here. Oh, well, we have a couple cases here, but it's going to be gone by spring. Oh, it's not that bad. It'll be gone in a few weeks. Then, oh, we just need to flatten the curve. Oh, masks, you don't need to wear them. We're not going to wear them. We're going to keep holding massive rallies every single day with thousands of people. And a lot of his supporters got sick and died, which is unfortunate because even though they support this terrorist party known as MAGA, they're still Americans, and I still want them to have free healthcare. I still want them to have good education. I still want them to have a chance to buy a home, a chance to raise a family. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that people lost their lives. And now, even though Donald Trump could simply take credit for overseeing the creation of the vaccine, he could save lives by telling his conspiracy theory supporters, hey, I took the vaccine and I made the vaccine. You guys can trust the vaccine. Now he's going to try and defend RFK Jr. right here and say, well, we're going to look at some things because, vaccines do have risks and maybe Bobby's right.
Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, that was now a long time ago, and we're on to other things. But we are speaking about it. We have meetings.
That was during the worst year of my presidency, where people were dying. There was 9/11 equivalent deaths every single day in this country, body bags flooding hospitals, shelves empty, death everywhere. I was the president overseeing that. That was a long time ago. That was 4 or 5 years ago, long time ago. But I like talking about Russia from 2016, and I like talking about the stolen 2020 election. But all those Americans who died, that was a long time ago. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Stop asking me about that, lady. That's what he's thinking.
He's about it in tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases. And I think we're doing really well. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said many times that you want to stop wars in the Middle East. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu is contemplating reoccupying Gaza entirely. Is he defying you, sir, or are you giving him a green light?
Well, we have stopped wars in the Middle East by stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon, and they are...
Nice deflection.
They can say they're going to start all over again, but that's a very dangerous thing for them to do, because we'll be back. As soon as they start, we'll be back. And I think they understand that. They're just words. But no, we've stopped a lot of wars in the Middle East. If you think about what we did with Iran, Iran was the perpetrator of hate, a very evil place, and I think it's going to be a lot different in the coming years.
Mr. President, on the India penalties, do you have any similar plans to enact more tariffs on China as it relates
Could
to
happen.
their purchases?
Could happen. Depends on how we do. Could happen. Brian?
Yes, I've got an entertainment-based question for you. A few weeks ago, Stephen Colbert announced that he was leaving his show. Howard Stern announced that he and Sirius XM Radio are parting ways. Do you think the hate Trump business model that's been in the entertainment business is going out of business because it's not popular with the American people?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning.
Imagine thinking that the hate Trump mentality in this country is a business model. Like, people are doing this for business. Dude, you are one of the most hated people in the world. Maybe the most hated person in the world, and certainly the most hated person in this country. I think, yes, you could make the argument, oh, well, more people voted for him than against him, but so many people didn't vote. And they hate you, and they hate your guts. And people say all the time, oh, those protesters, the protesting Trump, they're paid agitators. There's groups that pay them to be there. I would love it if somebody paid me to go protest your ass. But imagine thinking that you have to be paid to protest Donald Trump. Imagine thinking you have to pay somebody to protest the president who is already so disastrous for our country. You wouldn't have to pay somebody to do that. I would pay to go do that. If I had to pay $20 to enter a protest, or if I had to pay $100 to donate to some cause to get you as far away from our country as possible, I would do that because you are a stain on our nation's history. And everybody who has supported you is complicit.
Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon.
He's going to try and get rid of that.
Howard Stern, it's a name I haven't heard. I used to do a show. We used to have fun. But I haven't heard that name in a long time. What happened? He got terminated?
Yeah, they're going to separate ways because I think what they're offering salary-wise is real low than what he's getting.
You know when he went down?
Whenever you want.
You know when he went down? No, before. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he lost his audience. People said, give me a break. He went down when he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Mr. President,
He's just been getting old, and he's probably close to retirement. I think that's probably a more factual reason.
Started interviewing Fed candidates yet?
Yeah, we've started the interviewing process. Scott and I and Howard, a lot of people, JD, we have some great candidates. It's probably down to 3. He doesn't want the job. He said, do you like this job better?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was a candidate, but
please click the like button, by the way. Give this video a big thumbs up.
I really don't think he'd take it, actually.
That really helps.
From Wall Street, Mr. President?
Essentially, we're all from Wall Street, aren't we? You know, when you get right down to it. The term Wall Street. Yeah, please.
Yep, you made your tax cuts permanent. You mentioned that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of external revenue. You've opened up markets, the EU, Japan, South Korea, many others, to American goods like we've never seen before. How much growth can we expect in the economy now that this model of yours is sort of beginning to really take off?
Well, I think the growth is going to be unprecedented. I think we're going to have growth that's unbelievable. Now, remember, we're building and just starting to build a lot of these incredible plants.
They have these like new media plants that show up to these things now. They're like, let's turn it over to the new media. And it's some fucker who looks just like me, right? The guy who asked that question probably looks just like me. A little 25-year-old frat boy who is probably going to get drunk tonight in D.C., partying with his friends. Like, oh my God, I got to ask Daddy Trump a question in the Oval Office today. Oh my God. And they set him up such a softball question. Mr. President, sir, with your tax cuts permanent and all the trade deals you've made around the world and the growth, how much growth are we expecting? Like, how big are we going to get? How hard are we going to get, Mr. President? Because I'm growing right now, sir. I feel the growth. And you can tell how hard he gets from that question. And even he's getting a little bit of a half chub. I think he's got like a full chub going on the way he's like covering up his pelvis area right now.
We talked about the electric facilities that we're building, the generating plants, electric generating plants. Are massive, and they're going to be great, and they're going to sell excess electricity into our grid. So we're going to be having much more electricity than we ever had, and those plants are going to be taken care of individually. I know Tim is building one in one of his big factories, but especially for AI because it needs so much electricity. So I appreciate the question very much. I think the growth is going to be unprecedented.
Did you have a phone
It's going to grow so much, sir. We're going to need new underwear.
call with Andrew
His New York
Cuomo?
City
Did you
mayoral
speak to
run,
Andrew
or-
Cuomo?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on what
Have you talked to Andrew Cuomo? Why the fuck would he talk to Andrew Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo lost the primary in New York. He's irrelevant.
Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche?
No, I haven't. Have
You
not.
don't know whether
I
you
don't
came
know.
up in the
I know Todd
conversation
is
or
a
not?
very respected person all over the country, all over the world legally. So I don't know.
Maxwell says Trump is innocent. She's probably vying for a pardon.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Will the new Fed governor be temporary?
We're probably going to go with a temp and then a permanent, I think.
Are the two
So the temp is going to be named, I'd say, over the next 2-3 days, and then we're going to go permanent.
Are the two Kevins the leading contenders for the permanent spot for the chair?
Well, the two Kevins are absolutely, yeah, they're both very good.
Mr. President.
The two Kevins, very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think, here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole
Ooh, this is good. I saw this earlier. He's quickly trying to defend his Führer. He's like, we're not going to talk about the Epstein stuff, guys. My master's getting a little frustrated about that. And here we go. Watch this.
thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay? Yeah, please.
Wow. Even Tim Cook's like, what the fuck is this guy smoking? He is doing such a good job trying to distract the American people, trying to deflect away from this disastrous PR situation where everybody in America is starting to question whether or not the president is a straight up pedophile. He is. Well, I can't say with certainty. I mean, we need to see the evidence, but if he's innocent, then why haven't we seen the evidence? What's up with that?
Gallup poll says that Elon Musk is the most unpopular public figure in the country right now.
Ooh, this is going to be good.
I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment. But he's a good person. I believe that.
Wow, you can tell that question kind of hit Trump on a personal level. Like he's a little emotional about it because he loved Elon. They had such a great relationship. They rode around in the Tesla, and Trump got to check out the computer in the Tesla, and he got all that money from Elon. It must have been so fun the way they spent that money. And now he can only wonder why his friend abandoned him in this cold Oval Office where Trump really does not want to be standing. He's only here because he ran to avoid going to prison, folks. It's that simple. Now he's just doing the job.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline?
China facing potential secondary sanctions for
Yeah.
Russian oil. Them having that tariff or sanction rather or not hinges on what going forward.
It may happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, but we did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China. Yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great.
It would have never started. It was Biden's war. It was a Democrat war. It's not like I was totally kissing ass to Putin, telling him, do everything you want, and that when I'm going to be president again, because I'm going to rig everything for you, Mr. Putin, you can do whatever you want.
man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know about that. I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim.
Wow. Very insightful stuff from the thug criminal in chief. We got a lot out of that. He says Epstein's a hoax. It's total bullshit. He says he talked to Putin and that a breakthrough isn't coming soon, but that we might learn some details in 2 weeks. He says Apple's going to start making a ton of stuff in the US, even though Tim Cook says, well, we're not going to make everything in the US, Mr. President. We cannot do that. What else? There was another big one. Oh, he says he's totally fine with Netanyahu occupying Gaza, or at least when a reporter asked him if he's disagreeing with Netanyahu, he just said, well, we bombed Iran, so everything's fine. I'm the peacemaker. And there was one more big one. What did he say? Oh, and he was asked about Elon Musk, and he said, I like Elon. I still like him. I just feel like Elon had a bad moment. A bad moment where Elon said Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they haven't been released. A bad moment where Elon left the government because Trump added nearly $4 trillion to our national deficit. And by the way, for anybody out there who's forgiving Elon and thinks Elon's back on the good side or whatever, Elon was only mad about the fact that the big budget bill adds $4 trillion to the national deficit. He never gave two shits about the nearly 20 million Americans who will lose their Medicaid, who will lose health insurance coverage, thanks to Donald Trump. So, all right, next, I got something huge news. This happened yesterday, but not enough people have seen this, and I do think this is absolutely hilarious. Let's go side by side now here so you can take a look at this. So this was in Nebraska, and this is like many of these town halls we've been seeing where Republicans, for some reason, are still taking these town halls, just getting eviscerated by their supporters. This was actually 2 days ago, but I think it's just now starting to circulate. Watch this.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Well said, ma'am. Well said. I salute you. You're an American patriot. Keep it up. Look at this dweeb. This dweeb belongs in a 1970s soap opera. Look at this fucking nerd. Oh boy. Americans. Look at the way he panics. You can see his face, and the crowd is sweltering with energy. You can feel the tension in the room right now. We love this. We love this.
Went to the polls in November, and they had a choice between a Democratic candidate that had an open border, no enforcement, fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking. And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said, close the border, get illegal immigrants out of our country, stop the fentanyl, stop the human trafficking, stop the drugs, stop the crime, stop the violence. That's what Americans voted for.
This is why things are going to end so badly for MAGA. This is the perfect example of you are supposed to represent us. You work for us. You don't tell us what we want. You don't tell us what is best for us. We tell you what the fuck to do. We voted for you. We pay taxes so that you can have a cushy seat. And you are supposed to do what we fucking need to survive. Now, of course, that is not the way our country works. That is not the way our country is functioning. But that is at least going to fuck people like Mike Flood in the ass when election season comes.
Americans voted for a border that is secure. And I support the president enforcing our immigration laws, which, by the way, were written by Congress.
I want to ask, why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class? Billionaires and corporations got their tax issues enshrined into law forever, but the working class gets a no tax on tips or overtime that only applies to some of us, and now we wind up in a situation where we are.
Another brilliant question. Salute to you, sir. Great question. By the way, I like your fit. I think you look cool. This is another great example of why Trump has really misled people. He dangles this no tax on tips stuff in people's faces. It's like that Nirvana album cover, Nevermind, where you see the naked baby in the pool and there's like the dollar sign on the fish hook and he's like swimming towards it. It's like they're just tricking people into thinking, oh, well, he's going to get rid of your taxes on tips and overtime, so vote for Trump. But only if you're making a certain amount of money, and you can only deduct a certain amount of those taxes. And by the way, we're going to just tax you on other stuff like your health insurance. And look at him panicking. This guy looks like he's going to have a panic attack. If I were Mike Flood, which thank God I am not, thank God, I have my whole life ahead of me and I can do big things and I don't have to end up like a fucking waste of oxygen like Mike Flood. But if I was Mike Flood, I would immediately pivot to a new strategy where I would understand that my constituents are not having it. And instead of blindly worshiping and defending Donald Trump like he's a supreme ruler, I would at least try to see eye to eye with my constituents, maybe just try to agree with them and say, I hear you, I'll try to bring some change. But here he's going to check his notes. And the way he lectures his constituents is so condescending. He is burning through his own political future, one question at a time. Watch this one now.
With all due respect, sir, the Republican Party, now more than ever, represents the heart and soul of the working class. Boom. These are the other important parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Next slide, please.
Tensions erupt.
Oh, now people want socialism. Now it's time to tax the rich. Well, we've been saying that. Come on.
At a lawmakers' town hall. With the House in summer recess, many members are back home meeting with constituents. And for Nebraska Republican Mike Flood, things got a little bit testy last night. Early and often as he defended President Trump's policies and was confronted on issues from the economy to Jeffrey Epstein. Listen.
Why are you covering up the Epstein files?
At the next pro forma session of the Congress, you'll find my name as a sponsor on a resolution from the House Rules Committee to release the Epstein files to protect the victims and not re-victimize them again. I am for the release of those records.
With us now, CNN political commentator Paul Begala. And
see, that was actually a good answer. I think that's what he needs to do, is at least try to see his constituents eye to eye. But yeah, that was a disaster for Congressman Flood, who is flooding his own future with failure. Wow, what a joke. Okay, I would be a fool to not discuss with you the fact that Democrats today faced a bomb threat. They faced a bomb threat at their hotel as they await next steps during their protest of leaving Texas to prevent Republicans in Texas to carry out a MAGA mastermind agenda where they want to redistrict Texas well ahead of the decade census count to try and cheat on the 2026 midterms. Let's see what happened today to those Democrats right after this short advertisement. Here we go.
Democrats staying at a hotel in St. Charles.
Now, Paris is joining us now with the latest on that situation. Paris, what can you tell us? Sylvia, all clear right now. The folks that were evacuated here at the Q Center, which is a big convention space on the banks of the Fox River in St. Charles, they have been let back in, but that is after reports of a bomb threat at around 7:15 this morning. So, according to St. Charles Police, 400 folks staying here were evacuated. Soon after, authorities went inside. They did not find any kind of device. They were let back in. But it has rattled some of the Texas Democrats staying here. They were scheduled to give a press conference at about 12:30 with Illinois Senator Dick Durbin. That has now been canceled. And one of those lawmakers, Ann Johnson, a state representative from Texas, saying, quote, "A bomb threat this morning forced an evacuation because of dangerous Republican rhetoric. As a former human trafficking prosecutor, I've faced threats before, but never from the governor, President Trump." Paxton, that's the attorney general in Texas, told his supporters to, quote, "Hunt us down, but we won't be silenced."
All the time, we hear it from MAGA Republicans, how Democrats are the enemy within, how we are responsible for the violent rhetoric that we see in this country, how we are responsible for the political violence. They say that the lunatics of the radical left, the Marxists, the communists, the socialists, whatever fucking buzzword they want to use that they can't define, we're the ones responsible for the rioting and the looting and the slaughtering of innocent people. Well, guess what? Earlier this year, 2 Democratic lawmakers lost their lives because of Trump's fascist rhetoric. 2021, people tried to destroy the Capitol building and overthrow the will of the people, bringing nooses to the Capitol to try and hang Mike Pence. They wanted to unalive Nancy Pelosi. Am I missing something here? Elon Musk, back when he was in Trump's camp, says it's the leftist lunatics that are responsible for the violence, and they need to tone down the rhetoric because President Trump almost got shot. The guy was a Trump supporter. He was one of you. He was one of you. He was one of your supporters. And now Paxton of Texas is saying you got to hunt down these Democrats. Hunt them down? Hunt them down. Not the Democrats have to do their jobs. They have to come back. Hunt them down, he says.
So clearly, they're very concerned with what's taking place here, but St. Charles officials say their safety is now guaranteed. There is no device found in this Q Center. Governor Pritzker weighing in that he has been made aware of these reports. He is directing the Illinois State Police to look into this. And St. Charles Police saying if anyone has any leads, any info, to call the police department. We did get some sources with the Democrats saying they're concerned particularly with YouTube influencer, provocateur, conspiracy theorist who's been out here the last couple days trying to track some of these folks down, kind of revealing where they were staying. And now it's known to everybody. It's the Q Center, a convention space here in St. Charles. No connection that we know of yet, but they told me they were concerned with some of that person's followings and some of the postings that they had made. So we hope to bring you some more information on this at the bottom of the hour, but for now, reporting from St. Charles, Paris Schutz, Sylvia and Brian.
Paris, I'm curious. So first of all, I wonder if they'll be staying there now that everybody knows.
Every other day, they say that Democrats are threats to the country. They say that we are evil. They say that we are here to destroy America, that we're importing rapists and criminals from countries like El Salvador to replace white people, and that we're trying to cheat on elections, and that we're trying to destroy President Trump, and that we're pro-Hamas terrorist sympathizers. No wonder these nut jobs out there are going after anybody who's a Democratic politician or a lawmaker. And by the way, this is a tale as old as time. It seems like every time something bad happens in this country, it's because of conservatives.
Where they are, and what is the plan for these Texas Democrats? Even before this happened, what was going to be their next step?
Their next step was to bring in more Democratic power players, including Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, to come in to basically shine a national spotlight on this issue of gerrymandering. Let's remember why they're here. They're trying to avoid a legislative quorum in Texas so that that legislature cannot pass these new maps, these redistricting maps here. Very unusual thing for redistricting to occur midstream. Redistricting typically happens every 10 years after the census. So Texas, along with Illinois, along with many other states, already did their remap.
That's a great example of a local news network being non-biased, but clearly even they know that what is going on in Texas is complete and utter bullshit. It's complete fascism. The way he says it's pretty unusual for a state to go through with redistricting in the middle of the decade, the way we're doing it now here in Texas. Every other state has already done theirs. So yeah, it's pretty unusual. No shit, but thanks for calling it like it is. I appreciate it.
Illinois and Texas have been criticized for being gerrymandered. Illinois to favor Democrats, Texas to favor Republicans, but now Texas lawmakers, at the behest of President Trump.
It's funny because oftentimes on Twitter, you'll see Republicans saying, look at how gerrymandered this is. Democrats rigged the map to fit their agenda. And they show like the district that contains Austin and San Antonio. And it's like, no, Republicans did that to group together the urban areas in the most skinny, ridiculous looking gerrymandered fucking map so that all the rich white neighborhoods can be different little districts around the urban, scary areas that are Democrat run cities.
Trying to draw seats that will perhaps allow them to pick up 5 more Republicans in Congress as they face midterms. So it's a very contentious, very heated political issue. The rhetoric has turned sort of violent now, and now we are seeing these threats. They're keeping their next moves close to the vest, Sylvia. We don't know what they're going to do next, but we will be monitoring the situation.
And Paris, I also want to ask you, I'm not sure if you have this information, do we have any idea why these Texas Democrats came to here, the Chicagoland area, when they could have gone somewhere else in the country for this?
Yeah, basically they said that Governor Pritzker had met them several weeks ago and they'd established this relationship. Pritzker basically saying, look, you know, if it comes to this, we'll offer you some support, some logistical help. He said he has not provided any financial help.
That's really great on Pritzker's part, I will say. That's really awesome that they've done this. I think this is a true moment of grit and fight, and hopefully they don't cave. Hopefully this isn't just symbolic, but the fact that, you know, one of the most influential governors of one of the biggest states in the country said, come here, I will give you safe harbor, I don't care about the consequences, you will be safe here. And by the way, they went to Illinois because it's pretty close by and they can stay there.
But clearly they've offered logistical help in setting them up at places like the Q Center on the Fox River. And so that's why they decided to come to Illinois, despite the fact that it is ironic, given the fact that Illinois' maps have been very heavily criticized for being drawn to favor Democrats. As you know, we have 17 seats in Congress in Illinois. 14 of those go to Democrats. And all folks have to do is go look at those maps, go Google them, and look at how squiggly they are. And when you see those squiggly lines, you know things are a little nefarious. Same thing in Texas, same thing in many other states that have drawn these maps. But now, as you know, Brian,
this is a guy that is trying and clearly doesn't know the full extent of why the maps are the way that they are. He is coming at it from a common sense standpoint. Like an average person will probably look at Illinois' map and be like, well, that looks kind of shady too. But you don't have the full context.
And it's set off this sort of arms race, so to speak, where if Texas wants to further gerrymander their maps, well, then blue states have talked about going in and doing the same thing.
I would love to be watching this. Breaking down Chicago Bears training camp. Bear down, by the way, folks. I don't know if anybody out here is a football fan, but go Bears. Bears are going to have a huge season. Caleb Williams, he might be the MVP. I'm calling it now. So there you have it. Very scary situation out of Texas, out of Chicago. Not ideal. Very disturbing situation. And things may only get worse. So maybe it's my job to sort of provide a little bit of optimism into these streams, to let you people leave here, you know, knowing that there are small wins that are happening along the way. I think the pressure that is being mounted on Republicans, like we saw in the town hall with Congressman Flood, that's a win. That's embarrassing for him. That's embarrassing for the movement. It gives people power. It gives people a platform. I think that's a win. I think what happened in the Oval Office today, people getting under Trump's skin about Epstein, once again, that's a win because he's dodging the question once again. He is incriminating himself by reeking of a stinky stench of guilt. And I think what's going on, in places like Los Angeles, that's a win. Right now, people are resisting ICE. Los Angeles has prevented ICE from racially profiling people. We'll see if that holds, but at least there's a stay right now in federal court. So, a lot of scary stuff, but there are some victories to be had. I'm just seeing a report right now. It says United Airlines grounds flights nationwide over technology issue. On Wednesday evening, the Federal Aviation Administration issued a ground stop for United Airlines departures at Chicago O'Hare International, Denver, Newark, San Francisco, and Houston airports. United Airlines said a technology issue prompted it to hold all mainline flights at their departure airports, causing delays this evening. At O'Hare, passenger videos show United planes queuing on the tarmac as delays range from an hour to over 4.5 hours. Doesn't look like the Democrats are flying back from Chicago anytime soon. The ground stop issued by FAA affects United Airlines with delays and duration unknown, and United warned of additional delays this evening. Thanks, Sean Duffy. Thanks, Trump. Well, at least delays are precautionary, and it's usually out of an abundance of caution. You'd rather see delays than flights taking off where there's problems. So, all right, folks, we're going to call it here for today. A solid hour of stream. If you missed any part of it, you can go back and watch some of the beginning. I'm going to clip some parts of this and upload them as videos as well. So be sure to subscribe for free. Please turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Like the video and share the video because both of those things help amplify the messages that I'm spreading. It helps me spread the truth about what's happening here in the United States and around the world. Every other social is in my bio. I'm mainly on TikTok and Instagram. If you want to support my work directly, I have no sponsors. I'm purely independent, so you can help me keep the lights on by sending me a Venmo or going to buymeacoffee.com. Both are also linked in the description. Anything helps. $1, $5. I'm a grassroots creator. I really just need to keep doing this for a living to help spread the word. So appreciate you for being on this journey with me. Thank you so much. God bless you, and fight the fascist Trump regime. Have a good night.